How do professional poker players float? Imagine being in a game where every move counts, and you have a secret weapon to keep your opponents guessing. That's what floating is all about in poker. It's a clever tactic used after the flop, where you call a bet with a weak or marginal hand, not to win right then, but to set up a bigger play later. The goal is to take control of the pot on the turn or river by bluffing or by hitting a better hand. Most pros use floating when they are in position, meaning they act after their opponent. Being in position gives you the advantage of seeing what they do on the turn before you decide your move. If you're out of position, floating becomes less effective because you can't control the size of the pot or pressure your opponent as easily. To float successfully, you want to call with hands that have some backup potential. For example, if you have overcards or a backdoor flush or straight draw, you have a chance to improve by the river. This makes your float more believable and gives you options if your opponent checks to you later. Floating works best in heads-up situations, where only two players are involved. When more players are in the hand, the chance someone has a strong hand increases, making bluffing riskier. It's also smart to float against opponents who often continuation bet but then check or fold on the turn. If they tend to give up, floating can be a way to steal the pot when they show weakness. Choosing the right boards and opponents is key. Certain textures, like dry or disconnected boards, are better for floating because they reduce the chance your opponent has hit something strong. Also, paying attention to how your opponent plays helps. If they always bet big with strong hands and check weak ones, floating can be a powerful move. But if they call down with anything, it's better to avoid floating against them. In practice, a pro might call a small or medium flop bet with a hand like weak top pair or just over cards. If the opponent checks on the turn, they might bet again or check, giving the floater a chance to bluff or value bet. If the opponent checks, the professional might bet or raise, putting pressure on them to fold better hands. This play balances their range and keeps opponents guessing. Overall, floating is an advanced tactic that relies on good judgment, timing, and understanding your opponent's tendencies. When used correctly, it turns marginal situations into opportunities to win more chips. It's about being sneaky, patient, and knowing when to strike. That's what makes it a favorite among top players in post-flop play.